today's episode of Huber Hype, we're ripping people in half, bashing people's heads in, Kratos style. Hey everyone, today we are going to be talking about God of War, legendary franchise. God of War 3 remastered on PS4 comes out today, in the store today. If you want to pick it up, play it, relive the memories of Kratos' epic tale of revenge. So we're just gonna dive in right now. We're going back to all of the God of Wars, and we're gonna hit it hard, Kratos style. It's 2005, and I'm wearing this exact same jacket. Actually, Zero Jacket number 1 at the time. This is number 4. And I'm coming to school. I got my PSM, my official PlayStation magazine. I would come to school with just bundles of video game magazines. And I go to my good friend, Bradley Ellis. I say, Brad, look at this game. What is this? He was like, oh man, looks cool. I don't know, man. Looks awesome. God of War, all right. God of War 1 in this magazine. So a couple months go by. The day comes, go down to my local GameStop, pick it up, invite all of my friends over to my house to see this game. Day 1. Pop it in the PS2, my mom's coming out, she's like, hey, anybody want some chips and salsa? You know, what are we playing? Playing God of War, ripping people in half, bashing heads in. Everyone is freaking out. We had never seen anything like this. Graphically, visually, just mind blown. I would become so obsessed, and being an annoying high school kid, you know, I would drive to lunch each day, every window down, blasting that soundtrack. If you're playing God of War and your volume isn't breaking your speakers, you're not playing it right. So let's get into a couple reasons why this franchise is just epic. First up, difficulty, meaningful difficulty, to be more precise. So, a lot of the game over the years, a lot of people say, you know, square, square, triangle to win. It's the Blades of Chaos combo where you do a hit, a slam. It just destroys everyone around you. This is true on most of the difficulties, but when you beat a God of War game, you unlock a very hard mode. And the reason I love this so much is because it completely changes the way the game is played. It becomes more about evasion and defense rather than non-stop offense. Just executing that combo becomes harder because enemies will just swarm on top of you, they'll interrupt your combo, you'll have to block and dodge out of the way and get to a safe location. It's all about quicker attacks, knowing when to use a high-risk slam. It's just one of the most rewarding unlocks for a game, and a great excuse and a great reason to go back and play through it again. Speaking of the Blades of Chaos, we did an episode about weapons a few weeks back on Huber Hype. Blades of Chaos did not make it. And I don't know what the hell I was thinking, because those weapons are legendary. If I had the opportunity right now, I would make a pact with Ares to sear those onto my skin, to just throw them any which way. But it doesn't stop there. It's hard, you know, you get those Blades of Chaos and you just want to use them the entire game because they're so fun. There's nothing quite like them. They're so unique. And they're good for close, medium, long range. They're a jack-of-all-trades weapon. But there are so many other weapons in God of War as well. First one that pops into my mind, the Nemean Cestus. The best thing about this weapon is how you take it from Hercules. You rip it off of his arms, equip them yourselves, and continue to bash his face in until it's just a pool of mist. It completely changes the way the game is played. It becomes about a full frontal assault. There's no range whatsoever. You just get in people's faces and you feel the blow. You feel the impact with every punch from this weapon. And that's something about all the weapons in God of War, is that there's a context, there's a backstory. You have the Blades of Chaos because you made a deal with Ares. You have the Nemean Cestus because you took them from Hercules, who took them from the lion. Another favorite are the Claws of Hades. Similar to the Blades of Chaos, except with the added effect of summoning dead minions to do your bidding. I mean, even going back to God of War 2, when you're chasing that Griffin rider on the Pegasus, you're chasing him down and he's got that purple spear of destiny. He crash lands, you have to go all the way around, you have to find his corpse, and there it is, the spear of destiny that he was wielding, and then you can wield that weapon. It just puts meaning on a weapon. It's not just a simple, machine gun that you pick up off a body. It has a story. Speaking about context, Mr. Kyle Bossman, the God of War series does it beautifully, because these levels, these environments are not just to look at. They are a part of the story, a part of the feeling of life within these games. The entire 3/4 ending of this game is on Pandora's Temple, which is in itself on top of Kronos as a punishment from Zeus. You have to navigate through the city, through the desert, following the siren's call. He comes up out of nowhere. There are moments when you're on there and you come out and you just see him crawling around. This environment is alive. It is part of the story. It is not just walls in a room. It itself is a story. In God of War 2, the Isle of Creation, you see the Temple of the Fates off in the distance, and as you progress further and further in the game, it gets closer and closer. You're trying to change your fate by making it out there. Furthermore, on the Island of Creation, then you go down after you fight Icarus, you rip his wings off, carry those into the next game. Love that little touch. You go down and you see Atlas chained up, holding the world in his hands. You land right in front of his eye, and you just see his eye staring at you and he's talking to you. That just blows my mind away. It is putting meaning and value into a Titan. When I think of a Titan, I think of something incomprehensibly large and massive, and that's exactly what the scope of these games do. They make me feel small in these massive worlds. Lastly, I love a good boss fight. Love bosses! Why are there not as many good bosses as the glory days of beat-em-ups and action games? Bosses! I love bosses. God of War has so many good ones. Each God of War 1, 2, 3 starts out with a bang! God of War 1, this Hydra is terrorizing the sea. Everyone's freaking out. They're like, Kratos, Kratos, help us! This thing, you're climbing up, there's a little puzzle element. You gotta you gotta slam the spike into each of their heads to take out the big one. Then you go inside of the Hydra to get the Sea Captain's key. More on the Sea Captain, okay? Remember that Sea Captain, everyone. Next up, God of War 2, Colossus of Rhodes. You're going all over the city. We're back to scale and scope here. This boss fight takes place in the entire city. It's bashing through buildings. It's like peering in windows, looking at you. It's stepping on houses and crushing everything. You're climbing up. You're launching to it. Remember the Sea Captain? God of War 2, you're on the Isle of Creation. Who rears his ugly head but the barbarian king that was referenced in the original game? It's personal. They've got a vendetta. This is why Kratos is in the service of Ares to begin with. Now fighting this guy, he's on the horse, you know, he's keeping at a distance. You can't really get to him, you gotta shoot him, you gotta cut in and get him, and finally you can kill that horse. The way you slam that horse down, PETA is pissed. Stab it in the eyeball. Finally, we're on an even playing field here, one-on-one. You and the Barbarian King. Guy's got this massive hammer. Summons, who does he summon? What spirit? The Sea Captain. Call back to God of War 1, giving meaning, giving context to this world. He sees you, he runs, he's like, not you again, damn it, goes to Sparta. Get away from me. You kill him again, that's the third time, because then even in 1, you see him in Hades, you kick him into the river Styx. You got a vendetta against the guy. Oh, there's so many good ones to talk about. Poseidon in God of War 3 is widely considered one of the best, but my personal favorite, we mentioned him earlier, Hercules. It's just a good old-fashioned brawl. You know, you're in the Colosseum-style fighting pit. He's pissed because Zeus always favored you over him. There's this brotherly rivalry. He's sending minions at you, and it's just this tiered fight. You're slowly ripping his armor off to make him more vulnerable, all culminating in you killing him with his own weapon. So that's it, just a few reasons God of War is epic. Bring this franchise back. I don't want any more prequels, spin-offs, Ascension, Chains of Olympus. I want a core God of War game with scope, scale, wow me again. You know, you have the power of the PS4 now. I want to see some freaking temple 3,000 miles away that I can walk to seamlessly. Give me some epic weapons, you know, don't stop at the Nemean Cestus. Top the Blades of Chaos. Give me something better than that. Make me feel the thrill and the rush of the kill, Kratos style. Give me more bosses. You know, God of War 3 ended on a low note. I have been waiting years for revenge to take down Zeus for everything he had done to Kratos. And I was let down. So let's bring it back. Let's get some epic boss fights. Let's go fight Nordic gods, Egyptian gods. Let's get every kind of freaking god in here, deathmatch style. So last week we got to talk about Shenmue and what makes it so great, and we have some comments. First up is Julia. Huber, is there any combat in this game? I'm curious. Why the hell didn't I talk about combat once? Yes, Julia, there is combat. I dropped the ball, didn't even bring it up. But you get scrolls in Shenmue 1. You get these move scrolls, and you can go into your dojo with Fukusan to spar against him. Really good to use, practice your throws on. You need a sparring partner to level up your throws. Always love that. You can also go into abandoned parking lots to just, you know, practice your moves, level your moves up. As there are 3 tiers, as you get a new tier, the move becomes stronger and it looks a little different. So yeah, there is combat. Some of the combat are QTEs, quick time events, and there is a free battle system. Check out GameTrailers level from a few years back, maybe what, 5 years now? Matt Blair did a level. The 70-man Shenmue battle. Spoilers involved, but if you're curious, that's a great representation of what the combat is. Next up is Tech Metal Rules. Lucky hit? Don just calls it hit. Lastly, Nutsack. I will never get to play Shenmue 1 or 2. Sega should really release them for PSN, XBLA. Love that, by the way, that you said that. No party lines. We all love each other here. Or just straight out remake them. So that depresses the hell out of me. Shenmue 2, easy to get a hold of. Just get that Xbox version, plays on an Xbox 360, easy peasy. Shenmue 2 you're taking care of. 1 is a little harder to do. It's a big commitment. but you can get a Dreamcast and the game. Dreamcasts are going cheap on eBay, but the game right now is spiked. Maybe wait a little longer, and there is hope for Sega to release an HD remake of 1 and 2. Never say never, it could happen. Coming up on GameTrailers.com this week, we're gonna have Matt Gilgenbach, the creator of Never-Ending Nightmare, on GT Live with your host, Kyle Bossman, because Brandon Jones will be chilling in Tahiti. Also, I'm going to China for 2 weeks. Further episodes you see down the line, we're gonna pre-record them. We're shooting out a sequence. We love chaos. I'm gonna be looking for Londi. I'm at Michael P. Huber. If you love God of War, you let me know, because it's an epic franchise. God of War 3 Remaster in stores today, right now. It's just a good excuse to go back and play it. And now that I anticipate being let down by that horrible Zeus fight, I'm enjoying the game a lot more than I ever have. It's time for Huber's Q. Batman Arkham Knight, it's the culmination. I love this game so much. Everything you do has meaning to it. There are no expository side quests that have no payoff whatsoever. Everything is there for a reason. There's an attention to detail, unlike a ton of video games out there. You can go inside environments and find little callbacks and clues to just the entire Batman mythology. They're speaking to the fans of the character, fans of the franchise. As a Batman fan who has read the same story multiple times, I love the fresh new take on the character and on the villains themselves and what happens when things get crazy in Gotham City. And it has the best reason in video game history to get 100% completion.